Various viruses are superimposed on the Chinese mainland, and hospitals are overcrowded. Recently, 2 rare viruses have been discovered. Jiangsu has confirmed a rare infectious disease, Q fever, and a cluster of monkeypox virus IB subclade has occurred in a certain place. Some mainland netizens lamented that now the virus is rampant, will people still live? Jiangsu confirmed a rare infectious disease. The mainland media Dahi.com reported on the 9th that recently Mr. Gu from Changzhou, Jiangsu, went to the fever clinic of Jiangyin People's Hospital for treatment due to physical discomfort. He said that he had recently repeatedly experienced fever, cough, fatigue, and muscle aches in the limbs, accompanied by palpitations and chest tightness. After diagnosis, it was finally diagnosed as an acute infectious disease caused by Coxiella burnetii infection, namely Q fever, which is a rare infectious disease. Mr. Gu went to the hospital for treatment in November 2024. He said that he had various symptoms, such as fever, after returning from Africa 10 days ago. The doctor at the fever clinic asked Mr. Gu about his medical history in detail and performed a physical examination on him. The chest CT results showed that Mr. Gu had large areas of inflammatory lesions in both lungs and a serious lung infection. Q fever is a natural zoonosis caused by Coxiella burnetii, also known as Q fever rickettsia. It is widely spread in nature, has strong resistance to the external environment, and can remain infectious for several months in extreme environments. Animals that are easily accessible in life, such as dogs, sheep, cattle, horses, and donkeys, are the main sources of infection. A rare cluster of monkeypox virus subclade IB outbreaks in mainland China. According to the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention, a cluster of monkeypox virus subclade IB outbreaks was recently discovered in China. The source of infection was a foreigner with a history of living in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. After the outbreak was discovered, the country and provinces, cities such as Zhejiang, Guangdong, Beijing, and Tianjin quickly launched a joint prevention and control mechanism to carry out epidemiological investigation and tracing, risk investigation, case diagnosis and treatment, and 4 related cases were found among close contacts, all of which were infected after close contact. The related cases mainly showed symptoms such as rash and herpes, and the symptoms were relatively mild. No infected people have been found among general contacts at present. According to CCTV News, the monkeypox virus currently has 2 branches, Branch 1 and Branch 2, which are further divided into sub-branches IA, IB, and IIA, IIB. The monkeypox virus sub-branch IB was first discovered in the Democratic Republic of the Congo in September 2023 and has gradually spread to neighboring countries since July 2024. The IB sub-branch is mainly transmitted through close contact, such as sexual contact, family contact, and unprotected medical care contact. On August 14, 2024, the World Health Organization once again declared the monkeypox epidemic an international public health emergency. In this regard, mainland netizens lamented, "The epidemic breaks out as soon as the Chinese New Year comes. Can I still live? The flu hasn't recovered yet." It's terrible. Nothing has been cured in the past few years. It's either this virus or that virus. Every day the food and the things I use are unsafe, and all kinds of viruses are running around. It feels a bit like 2019, the end of the year, the South China seafood market in Wuhan. At the beginning of 2025, various virus news in mainland China took turns to become hot searches. Weibo, Douyin, Xiaohongshu, Kuaishou, and other social media platforms were full of news about the spread of respiratory viruses in various places. Short videos of people going to the hospital for treatment in the early morning were terrifying, and the people sighed and suffered terribly.
Hello, my name is Fan Fan. This year I am in debt for 2.8 million yuan, about 400,000 US dollars. During this period of bankruptcy and debt, I have seen the ups and downs of love. Some time ago, my grandfather passed away. I really want to go back home. Do you know? I can't even afford the 800 yuan travel fee. The wall fell, and the crowd pushed the phoenix down. I looked for all my relatives and friends, but I didn't get a penny. I may not be able to live happily. I have paid off more than 1 million yuan in debt in the past 4 years. I guess there are not many people born in the 2000s like me. After the debt broke out, I faced countless collection calls every day, as well as some prosecution text messages that I didn't know whether were true or false. Because my parents are right. You have to pay back the money you owe. This debtor was once a multimillionaire. He had opened a restaurant, operated in education and training, and was even involved in the process field. There was a luxury car parked at home and a happy family. Everything looked so glorious. However, now his family is broken, and his wife chose to divorce because of the heavy pressure of debt. The past glory has long disappeared, leaving only the mess. In recent years, China's mainland economy has continued to decline, resulting in the increasingly serious phenomenon of the middle class returning to poverty. Many former middle-class families have fallen into financial difficulties due to multiple pressures such as mortgages, education, and consumption. In middle age, not only did he lose everything, but he also incurred a debt of more than $2 million. Looking back on the first half of this period, it feels like a fucking joke. I am probably the most failed person among the post-90s. As a parent, I failed to accompany my child, who is less than 1 year old, and give him a good education. As a person, I failed to be filial to my elderly mother. A friend said that he had not slept well for many days in a row. When talking about his situation, many people may find it unbelievable and even ridiculous. His current financial situation is so bad that he can't even take out $1. He used to be the director of a Tmall flagship store, managing 5 or 6 employees. Of course, the impact of the 3-year epidemic, coupled with the betrayal of his brother, made him lose everything and bear more than $2.3 million in debt. Now, he can't even afford to buy a piece of clothing for his child for 10 yuan. Every day, he has to answer countless collection calls and endure the creditor's relentless pressure. To cope with the huge debt burden, he once went to his relatives and friends to seek help. But what he didn't expect was that his former relatives and friends did not lend a hand because of his downfall, but looked at him coldly, even laughing at and ridiculing him. This attitude made him feel heartbroken. Do you think families don't work hard? On the contrary, those who work overtime until late at night every day have the most debt. But even so, it is still not enough to pay off various Huabei, credit card bills, mortgages, car loans, and other loans. The money doesn't stay in their pockets before it's gone. It is about to be the end of the year, but they are still in the same place, not to mention savings. Most people are almost debtors. This is the true portrayal of the majority in the current situation. It is reported that many people in their daily lives pay off the company's debts while swiping credit cards to cover rent and living expenses. Occasional unexpected expenses force them into situations where they have to take out loans or incur credit card debt. This kind of debt is like a rope. The more you struggle, the tighter it gets. Even if you work overtime and stay up all night, the balance of your credit card remains at the bottom. Even with great effort, it is still out of reach to pay off the bills. In Beijing, a blogger shared the story of a neighbor couple. The two used to work in the internet industry and bought a house for 5 million yuan in 2019. Now, both are unemployed, and the house has depreciated to just over 3 million yuan, with a net loss of 2 million yuan. In addition, the million yuan mortgage is causing huge pressure due to unemployment and the large payments required. Another blogger mentioned that his friend Wang Zeng was a typical middle-class mother. Her husband worked in finance, and the family had a considerable income. They sent their children to an international school with an annual tuition of 230,000 yuan, and their total planned expenditure was about 10 million yuan. However, after her husband lost his job, the family's finances fell into trouble, making it difficult to even pay the children's tuition. There are many people who have been deceived by others and ended up in debt. I am in debt. My family in Hebei owes more than 2 million yuan. I have almost never had a good night's sleep. How difficult it is for me to say this. I am not afraid of you laughing at me. I can't even take out 10 yuan now. I used to be a company manager. When times were good, I earned 40,000 to 50,000 yuan a month. This young man was deceived by his most trusted brother. Now, his house is mortgaged, and he is still in debt of more than 2 million yuan. This situation prevents him from buying clothes for his children. The day before yesterday, the kindergarten called to urge him to pay the next tuition fee, but he could only remain silent in embarrassment. Every day, he is surrounded by collection calls. Even under such huge pressure, he has never begged for help from those so-called relatives and friends. Those who once borrowed money from him to get through difficult times now avoid him and even laugh at him when he is down and out. I never thought that I would be cheated by my most trusted friend. Last year, my friend's brand was in a hurry to get a loan. Because he needed a guarantor, he asked me to guarantee the loan for him. He had really helped me a lot in the past, so I felt embarrassed and agreed. I signed the guarantee contract. Now I think it's a joke. Not only did he fail to repay the money, but they also went bankrupt, and he ran away, completely losing contact. 900 million in China live in poverty, with vendors and migrant workers struggling to survive.
Now unemployed, the two of us have no income and are living off our savings. Auntie calls work a way to make a living. For the livelihood of her family and her children's education, she gets up at 4 o'clock to come here and wait for work. She has no education, she is already old, and all she can sell is her physical strength. At 5:18, more and more people came, but the breakfast stall had no business. Eating 2 yuan steamed buns and square cakes was the best choice I saw, but I was reluctant to eat them. I have been looking for a job for more than 2 months, and there has been no significant progress. During this period, I was very careful with my money. I was afraid that the money in my hand would go to waste. The roof is gone, and there is no money to buy food. I have never been like this before. It is now December 10th, and the salary for October has not been paid yet. 2 months' salary remains unpaid. I have been in a meeting all day, from 9 a.m. until now, and I am still working hard. Basically, I am working at my own expense now. I didn't make any money. I didn't make any money last year, and I didn't make any money this year. My wish is to solve the problem of food and clothing. China's economy is in recession, and more people are living in increasingly difficult conditions. In order to survive, migrant workers go out to find work at 4 a.m. The prosperity of the city has nothing to do with them. They just tightly surround the small vans, hoping to squeeze into one and be taken to a way to make a living. There are also small vendors in the city who are struggling to survive. What do I earn? I can only make ends meet. I am just living my life. We can't live without work. If workers have work to do, they can consume, and we can still survive. If there is no work, we can't survive. Even people with higher education have been laid off and are facing hardships. The 35-year-old woman couldn't escape the curse, was laid off, and couldn't find a job. 2 days ago, I saw a message about part-time jobs in the group, but the phone was always busy. Many people rushed to get part-time jobs, but in the end, I didn't even get one. I wish I could stretch $1 into $10 every day, and I never spend on anything I can avoid. I try to spend money on my children. I never thought that one day I would live like this. Many bosses who were once rich and enviable are now struggling to make ends meet. Li Shi, Dean of the Institute of Sharing and Development at Zhejiang University, recently accepted an exclusive interview with the mainland media, Economic Observer, and said that, according to their estimates, the population that does not meet the middle income standard currently accounts for 65% of the total population. That is, there are about 900 million low-income people. Moreover, the income gap among these 900 million people is large, with some groups' incomes close to the middle income level, while others are in a state of relative poverty. So what exactly is the middle income standard he mentioned? Li Shi said in an interview with mainland media last year, according to absolute standards, based on our measurements, the size of our middle income group in 2022 will probably reach about 460 million people. On average, an income of about 3,000 yuan per month can basically meet the standard of the middle income group. A blogger disclosed a set of data on Chinese income compiled by China International Capital Corporation Limited, which is even more shocking. CICC data divides the monthly income of China's 1.4 billion people into 11 levels. The first level is people with a monthly income of 0. There are 5.46 million people in the country, mainly the elderly and children. The second level is people with a monthly income of 0 to 500. There are 215 million people, accounting for 1/7 of the total population. The third level, comprising people with a monthly income of 500 to 800, includes 202 million people. Level 4 consists of people with a monthly income of 800 to 1,000, with 124 million people. Most people's pensions are at this level. The total number of people in the above 4 levels adds up to 546 million, confirming previous official data that 600 million people have a monthly income of less than 1,000 yuan. The fifth level consists of people with a monthly income of 1,000 to 1,500. This group comprises 243 million people, making it the largest proportion of the population, most of whom are individuals who have just entered society. Their monthly income is basically at this level. Level 6 includes people with a monthly income of 1,500 to 2,000, totaling 172 million people. Level 7 includes individuals whose monthly income is 2,000 to 3,000, with 203 million people. It can be said that this level represents the lowest wage threshold at present. According to this data, people with monthly incomes below 3,000 yuan number 1.164 billion. Li Shi pointed out that even those who reach the so-called middle-income group standard may still face hardships. I feel like I can't live anymore. I am in the 4th or 5th county-level city. The salary of just over 3,000 yuan was paid on the 1st of this month. Now, I have more than 1,000 yuan left. The rent, water, electricity, and miscellaneous expenses add up to more than 700 yuan. I usually work outside and hardly stay home all day. What about me? I basically don't eat in the morning. A bowl of ramen for lunch costs 12 yuan per serving. Thinking of having a rice bowl? The minimum is 15 yuan. I don't dare to order expensive food. After work in the evening, I think of eating some instant noodles, which cost at least 5 yuan. I also thought about cooking for myself, but after calculating, it's more expensive to cook at home. You said I now earn 3,000 to 4,000 yuan a month, but prices are rising fast. Even a cup of better milk tea costs more than 20 yuan. It's more than enough for me to eat for a day. Just in case a friend has a birthday party or something, 1 month ends up being the same as usual. He wants to make some extra money, so after work, he rides his electric bike to deliver goods. 2 days ago, he accidentally collapsed a customer's cake and lost 135 yuan. You can't say I don't work hard, right? I have to work 2 jobs a day. What do you think you can do to make money now? It's too difficult. My husband's salary was cut again. I didn't expect 2024 to end this way. Such bad news at the year's end, catching people off guard. My husband works at a large foreign-funded enterprise and experienced 2 pay cuts this year. The first was an indirect salary cut of 10%, with no overtime pay but mandatory overtime work. I gritted my teeth and endured for half a year. The second cut was even larger, directly reducing his salary by 20%. Our family of 4 rents a house in Shenzhen. I stay at home and take care of the children full-time. The entire family depends on my husband's salary alone. We have to pay back the mortgage in our hometown, pay rent in Shenzhen, and raise 2 sons. The second child will start kindergarten soon, costing another 20,000 yuan in annual tuition. After drifting for more than 10 years, it's really hard in middle age. Anyway, with his current salary level, supporting a family will be difficult in the future. There's no other way but to struggle for a few months and wait until after the new year to make new plans. Adults collapse in an instant. Think about this year. I have been working outside for a whole year, and in the end I saved just over 4,000 yuan. There's hardly anything left after a year of hard work. It's so frustrating. For those who are unemployed or even in debt, the pressure is even more unimaginable. Around 7:30 in the morning, I saw many people gathered outside the park gate. Then I understood it was a neighbor in the community. Someone had an accident. Taking things too hard, they jumped from the 12th floor. It all ended like this. According to neighbors in the group, the person was a 35-year-old middle-aged man who used to be a salesperson in a supermarket. Later, due to performance issues, he was laid off. He set up a stall and worked as a security guard, but things were always unsatisfactory. Now, he wanted to return to his hometown and sell his house because he couldn't afford the mortgage anymore. His house, worth nearly 2 million yuan when purchased, had a loan close to 1 million. He worked hard to sell the house since the second half of this year, but didn't expect the house to remain unsold. House prices are still falling daily. The real estate agent's offer was around 800,000 yuan, a loss of more than 1 million yuan on a house originally worth 2 million yuan. Too many people are unemployed this year. The number of people receiving unemployment benefits is slowly rising. By the end of September, the nationwide number of people receiving unemployment benefits had already exceeded the total for all of 2023. Based on official announcements from past years, the number of people receiving unemployment benefits has steadily increased. A reasonable calculation shows that this year, the number of people receiving unemployment benefits should reach tens of millions, more than double that of 2019. When ordinary people are struggling to survive, some CCP officials seem to be having a hard time too. Independent commentator Kai Shenkun expressed on the overseas social platform X that Yu Jianhua, a member of the Central Committee of the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China and director of the General Administration of Customs, was found dead in his office last night. Yu Jianhua, a senior international business official, had long worked in the Ministry of Foreign Trade and Economic Cooperation and the Ministry of Commerce. Vice ministerial remuneration was resolved in 2013. In January 2021, Yu Jianhua was appointed Deputy Secretary of the Party Leadership Group of the Ministry of Commerce of the Communist Party of China, as well as an international trade negotiator, ministerial level, and deputy minister. In April 2022, he became Secretary of the Party Committee of the General Administration of Customs of the Communist Party of China, and in May 2022, he took on the role of Director General and Party Committee Secretary of the General Administration of Customs. According to analysis by Kai Shenkun, Yu Jianhua was a ministerial-level official personally selected by Xi Jinping's personnel team after the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China. Having served in customs for just over 2 years, any investigation into his political background or corruption issues would likely point to his time in the Ministry of Commerce. However, in that ministry, he primarily acted as a business judgment expert with very limited actual power. On Monday, officials from the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection reportedly spoke with him, and shortly after, he died. This makes the public feel suspicious. On the evening of December 11th, the official website of the General Administration of Customs announced that Yu Jianhua had died of a sudden illness on December 10th, despite rescue efforts. He was 63 years old. However, suspicions were raised when the Chinese media outlet Caixin.com published a related report, which was quickly removed and resulted in a 404 error. This fueled speculation about the true circumstances of his death. This is China Undercover. If you like our show, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. See you next time.